Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, PlayStation's about to actually do something really good that we should all kind of have our eyes on. Now, you guys might be a little bit kind of curious on where it's going to go or why you guys might be interested in this, but trust me, this might be a good video. So when it comes to this, we are seeing PlayStation kind of take a little bit more leaps in terms of accessories and other outside sources to make revenue. And one really big thing that I think a lot of folks have been seeing has been the PlayStation VR, which has been very, well, lackluster to say the least. So we're going to go talk about the fact that they actually have a brand new huge update coming that actually might make me, myself, go and buy it, and how a lot of people out there in the outside world are actually going to maybe like it too as well, and why this actually might be one of the best deals out when it comes to gaming in the very near future. And as well, this is just big news for PlayStation, Sony, and also for the future of VR, so let's go talk about it. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. You have the Twitter and Twitch room down below, and I do think I want to go buy one of these, so I'm excited to as well. I might have an Amazon link down below for any of the VRs if you guys want to go pick it up yourselves down below, and of course sign up for Webull, get a bunch of free stock if you guys want to down below. Let's dive on into the video itself. So one thing I want to hear all your thoughts on is if you guys ever bought a VR, or what would it kind of go and take for you guys to go get a PlayStation VR in the first place, because as of right this second, the PlayStation VR sales are doing horribly. And now this is going to be a good news video, but I'm trying to give you guys some really kind of quick context. Basically, the PlayStation VR has been a flop. It has been bad. It's been rough, and the sales are horrible. Like, let's say if you want to go look at the actual overall sales, they're saying, I love my PSVR2, but man, this hurts to see. The Amazon US sales figures for the last month for PSVR2 was basically only 5,000 versus other outside things, like the Metaquest is basically selling over 100,000 units, and the PlayStation VR2 is at 5,000. This is from Amazon. So this is like basically, like, there's still outside things like the PlayStation website or in stores or, you know, other various online platforms. But right this second, the PlayStation VR, I would consider a flop. I think it's bad. I think the technology is good. Like, so it's kind of like the part two of this. So part three is the big step, but part two is that the PlayStation VR is really good specs. Like, a lot of people who want to go look into VR headsets, I've actually been using my VR headset a lot recently for Beat Saber. Like, I quite literally have it like right here. Like, I have my Vive literally just right in my hand. But when it comes to this stuff, a lot of people are saying the PlayStation VR was amazing. Not just from like the actual games. The games are, I think, the bigger issue. But when it comes to the actual like specs of it, it's really good. Like a really good headset, really good brand new technology, and price point in comparison. Like, look at the Apple VR, like the Apple Vision. It's like $3,500, which is a really cool, nifty piece of technology. But that's also like 7 times the amount of the PlayStation VR2. The specs are really nice. The screen's really nice. The batteries are like really good at even this battery. Like, just basically everything internally is really nice for the PlayStation VR. So people recommend it. But the one big caveat was there's always a PlayStation VR, not a VR headset, a PlayStation VR. But all of this is about to go and change. And this is why I think a lot of folks are going to get hyped up for it, because as of right this second, it seems like Sony is now bringing the official PlayStation VR2 support to PC. Now, this is probably going to be the reason why I would buy a PlayStation VR. So first and foremost, like I said, the specs are good. Like, the actual headset itself is a good headset. Comparable, if not better, than all the other outside headsets that have already been made in the gaming sphere. And this is also cheaper too. The price point is still, don't get me wrong, I know it's really hard to go justify $600 just out of the blue. Like, I get it, I understand that's a lot of money. Even for me, I'd be like, yeah, it's kind of a lot for me to go and justify. But the big thing is, like, this, in comparison to all the other VR headsets, this is what's going to make me reconsider on buying the VR. Now, we still have to go have PlayStation get some better games. That's like a little bit of a later on the video complaint, because they've kind of been slacking on games. They're kind of slacking on first-party support. And so far, PlayStation did not convince me to go buy a PlayStation VR from the PlayStation ecosystem as a whole. But at the same time, this is probably why they're trying to go and mitigate into other things such as PC support, because PC is where VR is kind of exploding. Now, I don't want to say exploding as in like it's like an AI or, you know, Game Pass, but like it's still doing well. There's still people making new Steam games and VR games, and it is a little bit more of an intensive and niche genre because, like, as you guys can probably see, even for everyone kind of throwing all these other platforms, there's only a few million people for install bases, if even that, instead of like a few million versus like the tens of millions or the 50 millions or even hundreds of millions, such as like the Switch or let's say PC gamers on Steam or even Xbox at like 30 million, etc. So basically VR is in a few million, if even that, and that's also even lower for the PlayStation VR, where we're not even sure if it even cracked 1 million users yet or not. We saw the initial numbers are like 300K to 500K, and like we haven't seen specifics, but it just doesn't seem as good on other outside sources. But this will actually make me want to reconsider everything on the PlayStation VR, because this is a good good headset. If we can utilize this on Steam, on other outside VR games, I think this will drive a huge amount of folks buying it because the value is there. If it's only on PlayStation games and only on, like, say, the Horizon VR games, that's cool, sure, but I'm never spending $600 on that, like $550 plus tax, or also on top of the games. Never. Like, even if I was rich, yeah, sure, maybe just for fun. But my own self, I just do not get the value out of buying it for $500. And I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree too. A lot of you guys are PlayStation users or console users, and you guys haven't bought it. A lot of people in my community have not bought the headset. But with it being on PC, then having a little bit more into the niche cycle, and then, being kind of cool, I'm kind of down. So the big news over here is the PSVR2 support will be giving PC VR enthusiasts another strong choice alongside the Metaquest 3 and the Valve Index. Sony's original PlayStation VR was the most comfortable headset anyone had made back when it launched in 2016, which is really important over here for general gaming consistency. But using it was just anything but for comfortable because it required a bunch of cables and a breakout box just to run the PlayStation 4, and I still have that on my current Vive. It's like kind of old at this point, but still fun. So problem Sony thankfully solved with the PSVR2. A new headset needs just for a single USB cable, so it's like very efficient for PC users attached to a PlayStation 5 to get working, and I do believe that same thing also might be as well for Steam. So just literally one cable connection. If you guys look at my normal Vive headset, look at this monstrosity of a cable that I have to plug into like my PC, HDMI, my actual graphics card. Like, this is a big boy. It's also a big headset. It's heavy. You have the controllers. It's kind of a lot to go have it worked, but the PlayStation VR is very seamless, easy to connect, and this is the technology to kind of bring stuff mainstream. The one big issue that was only for PlayStation, and now if it's going for everything on PC, the whole world is your oyster, and I think this will actually go drive up sales a lot. So in a PlayStation blog post today, and I can show you guys up in a second, is basically Sony stated that it's currently testing the ability for PlayStation VR2 players to access additional games on PC. This is like the biggest line we can hear for VR. And I know a lot of you guys are not VR people, but indicating official PC support for the headset is on its way. The post has no more details on the offer other than a vague timeline, which is typical Sony PlayStation junk. Like, I'm going to call them out on that one. But the fact that they are working on this, and it is possible, and the headset's of really good value, especially for headset users, and it's simple, and it's unique, and it has brand new technology basically utilized for games. A lot of things are making a lot of sense of why I'd actually want to go buy this. It still is a lot of money, though, so I understand if you guys would be like, yeah, I'm good, $600. Or maybe you like don't want the VR, maybe the VR train in your mind is gone, which I also get. And there isn't as many big VR games out there to kind of go and like, kind of tone down the hopium a little bit, but it's still really cool. Like, this is a nice update for PlayStation. This actually would make me reconsider my PlayStation VR purchase. They say, we hope to make this support available in 2024, but it's yet another indication that Sony's looking to expand its gaming profits outside of just the PlayStation console, which I think is smart too as well. We talked about this a few days ago, where we saw, talked about this in a video, which funny enough, I don't think anyone even really saw. I was kind of sad about that one. On the Disney one we made last night, or if Disney games and they have the Disney licensing could also open up a brand new kind of trifecta of Sony and also brand new gaming licensings to make a lot of money. And as well, PlayStation needs to do other stuff besides just consoles. Like, the consoles are fine, but if their console sales are projected to go down, and as well, if they also have the technology in the PSVR, why not just try to go and secondary use these consoles? Same with the PlayStation Portal. You have like the remote play, but why not just make it where it's streamable? And use it with PlayStation Plus to drive up PlayStation Plus sales and have more people using the consoles just individually. And they do the same thing with PSVR 2. Like, people, if you have them sitting in these random warehouses, update the technology, make it so you can do it on Steam. They did go and say that PlayStation VR 2 struggled weaker than expected sales at launch, and I have to imagine the VR department in general is a tough space for Sony to navigate. How much money can Sony realistically devote to first-party VR games or shelling out for exclusives when it's only sold 1 million odd headsets so far? Which is why they should put these PlayStation games on Steam. Let anyone in VR play them, so like the Horizon game, make your VR headset also available and compatible with Steam, where that's where most of the market is, because PCs are stronger than consoles. That's where you get the VR enthusiasts, and it's just a win-win-win. Like, why not just sell your games on Steam? Yeah, you might take a little bit of a loss, but it opens up to so many people, even people with Metaquest, like your competitors. It makes no sense on why Sony's being hard-strung on this. If they put it on Steam, and they release their games on Steam, people will buy. We see it on PS5 games on PC now. There is no real reason not to. Do you not like money? Like, are you stupid? Like, I don't understand PlayStation. But with this big update now that's finally coming out, it makes me want to go maybe reconsider getting a PlayStation VR2 because I think this actually has potential now at this point. So give me your thoughts and comments and everything down below. What is can change your opinion or not? We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below. We have the Amazon link probably for the VR if I could find one. We'll get you guys up in case you want to buy one. And of course, as well, give me your thoughts and comments and all this. And sign up for Weeble, get a bunch of free stock and money because why not? And I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.